As Stephen Jones joins us now right here on your home of the first place Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. And a good afternoon, sir. How the heck are you?
Doing good, guys. How you doing?
Well, we're doing great, man. I mean, home field advantage for a couple of games possibly if you can take care of business on Sunday. This suddenly has a ton of gravity to it, doesn't it?
Well, it's obviously why you grind out a long season, and you just never know where you're going to end up. Your goal is week in and week out is to get better and execute better each and every week. And then at the same time, you're trying to grind through any injury bugs that may, that you may have to get over the hump on. But, at the end of the day, short of this game being for the number one seed, it's about as good as you could ask for. And, our team's played well. Obviously, we think we can play better, more consistently in terms of the execution, but we've given ourselves a great opportunity here to go out and win the East. And as you said, a couple of home games, if we can execute and win games as they come up. But obviously, though, our 100% focus right now is to go to Washington, and that's always tough in the NFC East. You don't ever take those for granted. We know they'll give us their best shot, and we've got to go in there and play well. And if we do, then good things will happen.
Stephen, TJ Bass, he might have to play this weekend for you, depending on Tyler Smith's situation and all that. Has he exceeded expectations? And I know he was a guy that probably should have been drafted last year, but you guys did a great job of recruiting him and getting him here. But has he exceeded your expectations as far as what he's done for you this year?
Well, I think anytime you get a guy through college free agency, now he was a priority for us because we did have him on our draft board.
Sure.
And had him in the late rounds there. And as you said, probably should have been drafted and certainly playing to that level. So I guess, to some degree, anytime you get a guy in free agency that's able to make your 53 and then go into games and play at a level where you still can execute at a high level on offense, then you have to be pleased. And certainly he's a grinder. He does things the right way, and we feel comfortable putting him in there. At the same time, Tyler Smith's one of the best young guards in this league. He's learning from the best, and a guy like Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, and company in terms of being in a great room. I wouldn't underestimate Tyler not being ready to go Sunday, but certainly we're going to do what's best for him in terms of the long term. But, those plantar fasciitis, it's kind of an odd deal that you kind of pleased that they totally tore versus being strained or partially torn, because then they're a bigger problem.
Stephen, final week of the season, there's plenty of contract incentives in play for numerous players. How aware are the coaches of things like that?
We don't bring that into play at all. I've never heard of players talking about them in the locker room. It's never gotten back to me. I mean, everybody knows we got to play this game to win. Nobody's everything's at stake here, and certainly it's not something that ever comes up, and certainly not anything that we would visit with the coaches about as we move forward. We just want to go win the football game.
How ready to play could Lyle Collins be, in a week or 2 weeks? Or, I mean, what's the outlook for Lyle?
I think, obviously we have great experience with Lyle. I know eyes lit up, with guys like Zach and Tyron. When he came to work out, they were all out there for his workout. He's a guy who's much respected in our room. You never underestimate what he can do. We just thought being able to get a veteran offensive tackle, in the room, getting prepared on the practice squad. Certainly, we've, had some, situations there with Tyron Smith and Chuma, but really like our guys. It's nothing against our young guys like Waletzko and Awesome Richards, but we just felt like it was a smart thing to do as we head down the home stretch here.
Stephen, can you tell us the bottle of wine that you sent to Mr. Bidwell in Arizona for their victory, or any champagne? Is there something you can fill us in on that?
Well, certainly when I see Michael next, I'll give him a big pat on the back. As we all know, in the NFC East, whether it's Jeff Lurie, whether it's Josh, whether it's any of these guys, I'm a great friend with John Mara. As good of business partners as they are, and root for each other off the field, we all know we root against each other when it comes to playing other opponents. So, but certainly that was a big deal for Arizona to step up in a big way. Good to see a Texas man and Kyler Murray, who had probably maybe, if not the greatest high school career in the history of Texas high school football, certainly one of them. And he certainly played at a high level.
Stephen Jones with us here on The Fan. How much interest was there in Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, I mean, those are all things. He's on their practice squad, which means, you can't protect your practice squad players, so you never know. But at the same time, anytime a good player comes available, and certainly Dalvin Cook's one of the, he's a top guy in this league in terms of his career. But he is a member of the Ravens now on their practice squad, and we're always looking to get better.
It's Stephen Jones here with us. How much confidence do you have in the coaching staff now making the playoffs 3 years in a row?
Well, they're certainly just doing a great job. Obviously, Mike's leadership with his staff, whether it's the Dan Quinns of the world or the Bones of the world, we just think we've got an outstanding staff. I know they're going to have this team really prepared. Everybody knows what's at stake Sunday, and certainly, we've been on a run these last 3 years, these last 2 years, certainly in the middle of the third, and we all know, it's always good to be in the tournament, but certainly we have higher expectations for this football team, and love the staff, love the coaching staff, love Mike's leadership in terms of giving us a great opportunity to take the next step in terms of what we want to get accomplished as the Dallas Cowboys football team.
What would it mean if Dak can go ahead and lead the league and be the first Cowboys quarterback to do that outright with the passing touchdowns?
Well, he's just, nothing surprises me with Dak because no one works harder at his trade than what Dak Prescott does. And as great a player as he is on the field, a great competitor, does things the right way. He's a better man off the field, a better leader off the field. He has the it factor. He's the unquestioned leader of this team. And nothing would be more fitting for whatever comes his way because he certainly deserves it, and we're lucky to have him.
We're lucky to have both you and your dad, Jerry Jones, on every Friday here, and twice a week, really, both of you guys. It's outstanding. He said this morning, basically it's a must-win game. We have to win this game. It's like a playoff game already. With what's on the line, do you feel like it's must-win?
Yeah, this is what it's all about. This team, there's no question. You can't deny it. We play unbelievable, much better at home than we do on the road. Hats off to our fans. They've given us a tremendous home field advantage. We play better as a team, and if we want to be and do the things that we want with this particular football team, they're a lot easier to achieve right here at home. And with the opportunity to make that happen, this is just a big time football game for us, and is one that we really need to win.
Stephen, when you've always been fair with your contracts, and sometimes even more, even given more than probably you should have, just to try and be fair. But when you see your players that are having success, and for example, a guy like a CeeDee Lamb, is it easier to justify your expenditures when you see that kind of production from a player like that?
Well, certainly. That is the way we've been, is we certainly want to treat our players fairly. At the same time, we want to have great communication with them in terms of their business, and they know what we're trying to do. Dak understands it. Certainly, the guys who are at the top of the food chain, if you will, in the salary cap, we have to have those visits with them, because if we want to accomplish what we're just getting ourselves in a position like we are going into Sunday, then you have to have some cooperation there in terms of, having enough to put great players around them. And they certainly respect their teammates more than, as much as anybody. We just hadn't had issues in that area, whether it's Zach Martin, a DeMarcus Lawrence, a Tyron Smith, Dak now, and certainly with CeeDee and Micah looming. Obviously, those are huge priorities for us, along with getting Dak extended. It's a big part of what we do. But I also know they want to win and understand, there's a salary cap, and we have to work around that.
Now, bear with me on this question. I'm not sure exactly how I want to ask it, but, Stephen, one of the most things most fans are really curious about with the Cowboys, but really across the league, is one thing that fans and people like to talk about is just, what the process is of making these in-game decisions in the moment. And it always really ends up falling back onto the plate of the head coach ultimately. But the process involved, how many people are involved in these decisions. For example, Greg Zuerlein, 59-yard field goal a couple of years back. Some people would say, hey, maybe you should go for it there, or whatever it may be, or calling a timeout or any type of in-game in-the-moment decision. And I'm curious kind of what is the process like ultimately when it's in that moment? Is it Mike McCarthy deciding for himself kind of based on the knowledge and lead up, whatever it is, just kind of a gut decision for him? Or are there people in his ear saying, hey, we should probably kick the field goal here, or we should call a timeout here? What is the in-game process like when it comes to making those sort of game management decisions?
Well, Mike has the ultimate call as the head coach, and that's a question you should probably broach with Mike, and he can go through his mechanics. But certainly he has great people around him, a great staff around him. As we all use the term, analytics are certainly involved. You hear these head coaches, not only Mike, but most head coaches around the league talk about the analytics aspect of decision-making. But, at the end of the day, when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't work, you're going to get criticism. And, that comes with being a head coach in the NFL, for that matter, college, for that matter, high school. When you're the head coach and you make a decision and it works out, then it's great and you get a lot of credit. And when it doesn't work out, then certainly people are going to be there to question those things. And obviously, some of these become quite difficult. They can be a flip of the coin as to whether you, do something or don't do something, go for it or don't go for it, throw it or run it. Those are all things that can be second-guessed when they don't work out. But Mike ultimately has that call in game, and, it's probably a great question for y'all to broach with Mike.
Yes, sir.
Stephen, you ever get tired of answering our questions? That's the question I have for you.
We're just listening to that.
Yeah, or listening to our questions that we ask.
I'm actually great with you guys. I enjoy being on with you, and y'all have been great. And I know this is our last one in terms of the regular season. Hopefully we'll be smiling and having a lot of good things to talk about. But, boy, as you all know, Washington gives us fits up there. It's an NFC East game, and we better come with our A game, because I know Coach Rivera well, serve on the competition committee, and know he'll have his team prepared.
Well, Stephen, my final question for you this week then is, you saw the ball in CeeDee's hands go out the back of the end zone, and I know you're a traditionalist, and there's certain rules you don't want to change, but did you kind of have a flashback of like, wait a minute, maybe I need to change that rule about the ball going out the back of the end zone on those fumbles?
Well, I was very much up in the air before that, but you know where my vote's going to be going forward. It's a rule that you do.
You're the first person I thought of.
To you once or twice.
Yeah.
And, it's just such a difficult rule. If you fumble that ball forward in the field of play, you keep the ball. It's just something, more and more now that we have it happen in the midst of a huge football game. It'll be something that we broach, but at the same time, as you said, Brian, we got a lot of traditionalists that don't like to change rules that have been in place for a long time. But at the same time, we do that in the competition committee. Most of the time, it's in the name of the health of the player, health and safety of a football player. But there are things sometimes that they get your attention, and we need to be aggressive and maybe look at making a change. So it'll be an interesting debate in the room. I know, as you said, there's a lot of traditionalists, but at the same time, I know, I'd like to say I'm on that side, but I think my mind got made up permanently on that play.
Have a great weekend over there, man. We look forward to you coming home with the crown.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.